That sound always gets me excited every Wednesday because it means I get to have another delightful conversation, not with myself, but with you. And most importantly, on days like this, it's all about the woman. Every Wednesday from 11 till 11:50, it's all about the woman and, of course, the men who care about the woman. But on days like this, the entire show is for the woman. Sorry. Now is the time for you to join and be a part of this excited party here. We are talking about how you can unleash your superpowers. That's to tell you that first you have superpowers. But what exactly are your superpowers? You will find out in the course of the conversation. So, dear ladies, please gather around. It's okay for you to have a cup of tea or whatever it is that you like to drink. But it is 11:03, so I want to assume that whatever you like to drink has nothing called alcohol in it. Now, dear gentlemen, please get a seat also because you have at least a woman in your life. If you do not have a daughter, you have a wife. If yeah, you have your mother. Yeah, you came out of a woman, so yes, you at least have a woman in your life. So these tips are very helpful, and trust me, you can even extract something from it for yourself. That said, I am excited to be doing this with someone who knows so much about the topic. She wrote an entire book on it. And you know what they say that if you have been looking for a book and you're not quite sure about it or you've not gotten it, how about you write it yourself? And she did that literally. So we will be getting all into that about the content of the book and also tips that can help you, dear woman, today as a superwoman. That said, I am referring to someone who's actually so gorgeous in the studio, and she came with a burst of positive energy, which I very much like. If you listen, you know that I don't like to be by myself in the studio. I just try to amp up myself. But she came in busting through the doors with a radiant energy, and I'm thankful for that. She's a published author, apparently. We're going to be doing one of her book today. And she's also a Gallup certified strength coach. She's a public speaker and the executive director, Junior Achievement of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, no boys, no girls, men and women, please make welcome, if you can, put your hands together for Foluso Gbadamosi. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for being my guest this morning. How are you?
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
I am fine. I am very awesome this morning. All right.
Wonderful.
So I'm sure you have probably gotten into the conversation about embracing equity, which is for today. Before we go into unleashing the superpowers as a woman, let's talk a little bit about that first. Where we are, especially as concerned maybe equity or inclusion or diversity or equality. So you're actually a professional who has worked across different sectors,
Yeah.
from the oil and gas to the financial sector to the goods, I think the consumer.
Fast moving consumer goods.
Exactly,
Yes.
that's FMCG.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you say we are when it concerns equity? And putting into consideration the theme, the United Nations theme for this year, which is innovation and technology for equality.
Yeah.
So, where would you say we are, Nigeria wise, and then globally?
Okay. So when it comes to technology and where we are as far as women and equity, I mean, I think we all know that we're not doing very well, but I do think that there is a lot more intentionality in helping women, bringing up girls that, embrace all their different parts. And because of a lot of role models and a lot of people out there who are doing things that are not the traditional, woman things, I think it's definitely taking us further. I love to see the intentionality of women who are in STEM fields, especially, and technology fields, in raising up more girls and doing all of those things, and also organizations that really advocate and push for more equity for girls to just be allowed to be who they were created to be, because in the part of the world that we live in, there's a lot of limitation, if we're being honest. Education wise, I mean, we still have so we have a lot of out of school children in Nigeria,
Yeah.
but even more out of school girls. And I mean, you and I can actually go off tangents and focus on that and talk all about that, because that's a real problem. But I will say that because of the space that I work in, because I work in the development sector, I see a lot of intentionality with organizations who are trying very, very hard to draw more girls and even out of school girls into more technology and innovation and things like that.
If you were to paint a picture of equity, if you say, yeah, now the world, or let's even start with the home front, now Nigeria has inched closer, way closer to equity, what would it look like for you?
Hmm. So when I think about a picture, kind of based off of the question that you just asked, I want to focus on a particular sector, or rather on a particular demography, right? If I look at Gen Z women and younger millennial women, there has been a lot of progress in the sense that the internet has given a lot of opportunities. So let's talk about the gig economy. I see a lot of young women really owning their lives, owning their careers, owning their work, lots of freelance work being done. I mean, I myself have hired quite a few freelancers, just young women who have developed themselves in a certain area or are still developing themselves and who are putting themselves out there. And they're not waiting for, the 9 to 5 job or for somebody to hand them anything on a platter. They're kind of just taking it on their own. And they're using the internet, they're using social media, they're using WhatsApp, they're using all of these different tools, to advance themselves. So I would say that we are getting there. So the picture is like the middle of the picture is like, so you know how the map of Nigeria, like the line is not straight, like towards the bottom is like kind of squiggly.
Yeah.
I feel like it's squiggly. So it's not straight, like, oh, it's half, but it's kind of squiggly as in we're getting there. And it's a journey, as with many things in the world, it's actually a journey. But I see a lot of young women, especially, really taking hold of their destiny. And I love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, I do like the sound of that. Now, if we have gotten to equity, what would it look like for you? Maybe a female president?
So maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I think that equity does not necessarily mean that we have a female president. In fact, I feel like sometimes when we say things like, oh, a female president, it so you can have a female president and not have equity. How's that? You can. It's actually very possible. You can have a female CEO and not have equity. Having equity and having equality is a lot more intentional than saying your president is female, because you can have a female president who is just like, okay, So I think that it's beyond that. You can actually have a male president and have equity. I think for me, it's more about all of us, women, men, being intentional in letting people really be their best without limiting them because of their gender. So let's stop all these assumptions, let's stop all of these negative thoughts, things that we have grown up hearing that we have made real about what a woman can or cannot do. And let's just let everybody have an equal playing field. If we have a level playing field in this country, we will have more women in positions of power. It doesn't necessarily mean president, it could be anything. But the point I'm making is it's really, for me, it's about having a level playing field.
Thank you very much for that level playing explanation. And I hope somebody was able to get something out of it. We'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we get right into the book. And of course, that's to roll out the tips you're here to listen to. You're listening to Soul Sisters right here on Smooth 98.1.
98.1. To all taxpayers in Lagos State, especially self-employed individuals, you have from now till the 31st of March 2023 to file your individual annual tax return. Wondering how? On your browser, go to etax.lirs.net. Log in using your taxpayer ID and password. If you are a first-time user with a payer ID, click on the password reset link. For new users, click Create New Tax ID and follow prompt. Should you encounter a validation error using your National Identification Number, NIN, kindly substitute it with your Bank Verification Number, BVN. Click on the Returns module, fill out all applicable sections, and submit. For inquiries, call 0700-2255-5477 or visit www.lirs.gov.ng. Note, issuance of the tax clearance certificate is subject to filing of individual tax returns, self-employed and payee. This message is from the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS.
To run a business, you need a plan.
You want a picture?
To woo
Yes,
someone,
definitely.
you need a plan.
I thought
Of
maybe
course,
at the end.
after. Yeah, but of course, we can do it right now
You
too.
need a plan.
know.
Especially
What
on
are your
YouTube.
questions?
You sure need a plan. Like
Let me get
the
extra.
I'm
Airtel
sorry.
Super Page plan.
I'm so
With
sorry I
$7
didn't give you heads up about that.
Thank you.
In my mind, it's just like we're going to be having a
Just
hearty
chat,
chat,
that's
but
fine.
no. So basically, we're talking about your superpower. Well, what's exactly the components of the superpowers, and how do you bridge the gap between your talents, your strengths, and all of that? And of course, you are the prime example of how you were able to do that, and every other thing in between.
My radio is my all-day companion.
It's all about your big songs.
The right kind of music. And of course,
It's all about your fresh news and information.
all the information I can get, all the news I can get. From the house to the car to meetings.
And it's all about the great ingredients you need for your journey home.
Lots of horrendous traffic stress.
The Smooth Drive Home, right
She
here
do.
every weekday from 4 p.m.
I just want to listen all day.
You know you can listen all day long because we have all programs lined up for you from now till, well, whenever you decide to go to sleep. We even have everything covered. Right now, you're listening to Soul Sisters on Smooth 98.1. It runs every Wednesday from 11 a.m. till 11:50. But the one you listen to was for the Smooth Drive that runs from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. right here on Smooth 98.1. If you're not in Lagos or in Nigeria, you can still listen to us. So what you have to do is go to our website, www.smooth91.fm. You go to the listen live option and you will listen to us anywhere in the world, even the Antarctica. Just go there. As long as there is internet connection, you will listen to us. Also, you can search for Smooth 91 FM Lagos on any radio streaming app or any website that allows you to stream radio. Right now, we are streaming live to YouTube where we are. Well, you can see our faces and also you can drop your comment. It is youtube.com/smooth 91 FM Lagos, right? Smooth 91 FM Lagos. Let's get back to the conversation. So my guest is Foluso Gbadamosi, who is a published author and also a Gallup certified strength coach. If you have never heard of that before, now is your time. Today is your lucky day and you're about to know more about what it means. That said, we're talking about superpowers. And we said unleashing your superpowers, not just unleashing them, but also as a woman. But before we get to that part, are you telling me that everybody on the face of the earth has one superpower or the other?
Absolutely.
Now, what does that mean? What are the components of my superpowers?
Beautiful. So your superpowers really are your talents in form of strengths. And let me explain what that means. So every single person on the earth, the ones you like, the ones that you don't like, your family members, your colleagues, everybody has talents. Everybody was born with innate talents that, were just given to us for free. When you take them to a strength position, that's when they then become your superpowers. And so all of us have the capacity, essentially, to have superpowers once we're very intentional about, first of all, discovering our talents, of which we have more than one. So your talents are not, so you don't have one talent, you have a bunch of different talents. And your talents really can just be seen as your natural way of, let's say, doing things, or the things that come naturally to you, the things that energize you, those things that you do better than other people, right? Now, when you then go from the point where you have just discovered them and you are intentionally using them every day, you are developing them, whether it's through training, it's through, different ways of knowledge, whether it's reading books, listening to podcasts, watching videos, whatever. When you do that, you keep doing that, it then becomes a strength. And essentially your strength are your superpowers.
Okay. Now, I am curious. Before you even got into writing this book, which is not just a book, I consider it a manual, because it gives you a step-by-step, not just the information, but also the assessment where
Yes.
if you want to go to the next chapter, you need to answer those questions and write things down.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I appreciate it. Now, how did you get into this? I'm sure before now, I think you had the book Dreamer, Dream On.
Dreamer, yes.
Dream On,
Dream on,
Dreamer.
yes.
In my head, it was Dreamer,
Dream on.
No, Dream On,
All
Dream.
join.
All right, but this one, how did you get into writing this book?
Yeah. So the reason I wrote this book is because I personally, have so I was on a journey. I am on a journey. We're all on a journey, really, obviously, in life, where we are really unleashing our potential. And it's not an overnight thing. So the reason why I wrote this book is because, and I wrote about it in the book. So about a decade or so ago, roughly, I already married, had my first daughter, was working what on paper, looked like a great job, but I really felt like there was more to life. And I felt like, okay, I have all these things going on and they're all great things, but there's more. And so I had this, I would say you could call it like some sort of hunger or desire for more. That desire for more, in retrospect, was something that I had because I, at the time, felt like I was not work as in WORK, my job, in my talents. Because I didn't really feel like my job was doing anything for me besides, okay, I'm working, I'm getting a paycheck, I'm going home. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like there had to be more. And then I then started thinking about the fact that, you know what? I feel like everybody on this planet except for me has talents, because you know how it is when you are in your head. Yeah. Everybody except for you, like, really, how is that possible? But anyway, my sister, one of my sisters is a doctor. She was in medical school at the time. One of my cousins was getting her MBA. When I looked around me, I felt like people knew their talents and they were on the path, and I wasn't. Mind you, I already had my master's degree and all of that at that point in time. So I got into this self-awareness thing, this whole journey. I started harassing all of my loved ones, my poor husband, shout out to him, my friends, my colleagues. What do you guys think I'm good at? What do you think I'm naturally good at? And then I got into the world of assessments. I started Googling all sorts of, strengths and talents assessments. I did a whole bunch of them. And, I was learning myself, and it was a journey. So, I kept working, did all of these things, got a lot of insights, honestly, from all of those things. And definitely had a lot of moments of, okay, this is maybe a better way to do my work, or this is a better way to, handle myself in life and all of that based off of my own talents. I then discovered the Clifton Strengths Assessment, which for me was just the absolute best out of all the ones I had ever done. I mean, it was for me life-changing, I'll be very honest. And what it did for me was, beyond all the ones I had done, was it put into words all the things about me that I myself could not have ever been able to put into words. Wow. It also put into words the things that even annoyed me about myself, right? So it tells you about your talents, but it also tells you what they call the basements of your talents. So the part of your talent that you need to manage, because it can come out negatively. So all of our talents are great. However, if you don't manage them properly, they can actually come out negatively. And hopefully we will kind of get to talk about that as we go along. And so for me, that journey has gotten me to a place of real deep self-awareness, and also, I would say, a way that I can be more successful in different areas of my life. So to the point about today, it's International Women's Day. Listen, women, we can't be super women. It's not possible. You cannot be all things to all people. You're not smoky jollof rice. You know what I mean? It's just not possible. So what you have to do is learn your limitations. Own it. It's okay. God didn't create anybody to be perfect. The areas that you have gaps in, how do you fill those gaps? Sometimes filling those gaps comes in form of maybe hiring somebody to help you, outsourcing something. It comes in different ways. But the point is that you have to know yourself, know the things that you have naturally been gifted, so that you can really hone those things for success. That is how you actually become successful. In fact, most successful people that you and I know are people that have been very intentional in their own natural talents. They're not looking at your talent and coveting it and saying, hey, I really want to be on the radio. No. Own who you are, own your own talents, develop them, and really become a master at that. And then for the areas of your life that you don't have talents in, find people that can help you out. It's all about us creating communities, us creating companies, organizations, and a world where everybody's talents are coming to play.
Wow. Thank you. That is so explanatory. But now somebody listening might be a little bit confused because you've used talent, you've used strength, and the person is wondering if it is the same.
Yes.
So take us through on page 27. You mentioned talent, strength, skills, and knowledge, and of course superpowers at the end. Yes. So what is the gap between talent, strength, skills, knowledge, and superpowers?
Great. So your talents, like I said earlier, are just what you were born with. They are innate to you. So everybody has talents. A baby, children, as you grow, your talents are in you. Lots of times they're just kind of lying dormant because you might not have discovered them yet. When you discover it and you begin to intentionally use it, you are developing it with knowledge, right? So that's where knowledge comes in. So it is the discovery that leads you to actually say, oh, so this is my talent. Okay, how do I develop it better? It's things like knowledge and all of that then helps you develop it. When you then do all of that in that process, and it's a journey, like I said earlier, then you are developing them into strengths. So your talents in their dormant form are not strengths yet. It's when you begin to do all of those intentional things that they then become strengths. Now, when you take your strengths to that ultimate level where, oh my goodness, you are just dominating in it, like many successful people that we see today, that you're like that person. When you think about certain fields, industries, things, books, there are certain names that pop to your mind. Those are people that they are on that level. Now, what is a skill? Everybody can acquire a skill. I can acquire a skill in many different things, but I cannot acquire a talent. You cannot suddenly say, I want to, hey, these talents I got, so I don't want them anymore. I want a new talent. It's not possible. They are already inside of you, right? And so you can develop skills, you can learn skills. So for instance, I might not have a talent in maybe being very empathetic. Like I might not naturally have that in me, but I can develop emotional intelligence as a skill. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now, the empathetic person with emotional intelligence is on a strength level.
Yeah.
The same thing with, things like analysis and things like that. Some people are naturally talented at being very analytical. Even without trying, they just analyze. You and I can go and take critical thinking courses. We can find ways to have a skill in it. But are we going to be like that analytical person when that person takes those same courses? In fact, that's why in university or even in secondary school, let's use secondary school, I think most of us can relate with that. There's some people in your class that before the teacher even finishes teaching, they've gotten the subjects and you're like, I don't understand. Did they not teach us at the same time, Because those people probably already have that innate talent in that field. So when they are teaching them, it's flowing. For you, it might be a bit more difficult, which is also why it's important that with our children, with young people, and even our colleagues sometimes, that we help people identify their talents, because there are certain things that you have just been wired to do naturally well. And we all don't have the same wiring. And it also sometimes leads to, things like people then kind of being jealous. Like in school, like, this person is so good at math, they're so good at biology, they are so good at, so and so and so subject, they're so good at languages, they're so good at art, they draw so well. A lot of those people, it was innate. Now going to school, takes it to the next level.
Oh wow, this I am being fired up, and I hope that you who is listening, you're getting the same energy. Remember when I started and I said she came through the doors with so much pack of positive energy. Now you're feeling it. In fact, you can get it. And when you were talking about talent and of course skill, I cannot help myself. In my mind, I was thinking Messi, Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldo.
Thank you.
One has skill, one has talent. Please go figure out who. This is not about football.
No shade.
All right, let's take another breather. And when we come back, we will continue and probably help you with some of those questions you can use in helping yourself discover your talent. You're listening to Soul Sisters right here on Smooth 98.1.
98.1. One secret about smart business owners.
I feel like we're at a session and the whole place is just blowing up. Wow. Those who sit under you are definitely having a good time. They're eating good.
We try. We try on a daily basis.
Okay. Smart too. Visit any Airtel store now or send an email to smartbox@ng.airtel.
So are you here all day or you just do this show and then you leave?
Yes, so I do it 10 to 1 and then I
Hi,
leave.
this is Letty C, and you're on Nigeria's
All right,
number
we're
one
back.
station for soul, jazz, and funk. Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life.
We love music, we love life, and we love you. That's why we bring content such as these to you. In fact, it should be paid for, but hey, that's why we are here. So at the end of the session, we are going to say a huge thank you to our guest this morning because she has been dishing out wealth of wisdom for free. There's a reason why they call them wealth, yeah? Why it is called wealth of wisdom, because these things are meant to be paid for. And I am guessing for you who finds maybe talking easily, speaking, maybe your talent is one of that. And you can hone it and, of course, become better at it, and people start to pay you for that. Now, that said, how can a person discover, what are those questions that can help a person discover what they have in you? You remember when you started, you said you had to harass your family, friends, and all of that.
Asking questions.
Yeah. So how can a person go about discovering what is inside them?
Okay, great question. So I'll give you a few, and the rest of them you have to buy the book or
I love it.
because I mean really that's why we wrote the book, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can really just start in a very simple way. Two things I'll say. One, just ask people around you. What do they think that you do naturally very well? You can also reflect. What are those things that people always ask you to do for them? As in, it's been consistent in your life, you just find that people are constantly calling or asking you for this. The second thing that you can do is every day at the end of the day, do it for like a week. Have a sheet of paper or on your phone and have two columns, one called energizers, one called drainers. Write down everything that you did that day and classify them as E or D. E for energizers, D for drainers. Now, those things that naturally energize you, those things that when you were doing them, you lost track of doing them. So like you and I now, we're talking on this show and we can probably be here for hours. That would be an energizer.
Yeah.
Chances that you and I finish this show and we're very energetic is very high because we're obviously in our zone. We're doing what we love to do, what we've naturally been wired to do. Then write all those things that drained you. You might not even realize that they drained you until you start reflecting. Sometimes when I get home and I'm just really tired, I'm drained. I'm like, what did I do today? And I start thinking about all the things I did. I'm identifying the things that drain me. And I'm realizing that some of those things are not things that I should be doing every day because the things that do not energize you are taking from you. So literally things are either adding to you or they're taking away from you, right? And if you spend your whole day doing things that are taken away from you, it's actually going to affect your health. And that's a different story entirely because this actually ties to your well-being as well. You were wired a certain way for a reason, for a purpose. So if you spend your whole day doing all the things that drain you, my goodness, you're going to end up sick.
That thing you mentioned, purpose, I'd like to get into it. And then I'm looking at how sometimes you get into some conversations and people tell you, you're so lucky to be doing what you enjoy. And some tell you they're just doing it for the sake of the paycheck because they need a job. How can a person just maybe eat the frog and go to where they know that they're surrounded by their energizers and not necessarily just working a 9 to 5 just for the sake of having something to put on the table?
Yeah. So I think that when people say things to people like, oh, you're so lucky to be working, in a job, in a role, in an environment that, clearly is bringing out the best of you, you have to understand that those things don't happen by accident. Sometimes they do, most times they don't, right? So some people have been very lucky in that maybe when they started their career, they just automatically ended up in this job that naturally gave them all of that. And, they're very blessed, they're very fortunate. But most of us did not. Most of us have had to discover. Working really helps you discover who you are. Even school, interacting with people, it helps you discover the things that make you tick and the things that don't, if you're honest with yourself. And so the answer to that question is, listen, you have to be very intentional about your life. Nothing great is going to be handed to you on a silver platter. And if it is, you are going to have to maintain it, right? So you have to do the work of discovering what exactly is it about your job that you love? What is it about your job that you don't love? And like I said earlier, use the energizers and drainers. And then you can use the Pareto principle, which is the 80-20 rule. Yeah. So look at your job, your business, whatever it is that you do every single day, and ask yourself if you are spending 70 to 80% doing what you like to do versus what you must do. This is life. This is real life. We can't do everything that we love every day, every time. There's some things that we have to do that we don't necessarily love to do, but it's our responsibility to do it. The thing here is that you cannot spend majority of time doing things that you're not wired to do. It's actually going to be killing you softly. It's going to cause physical health issues, mental health issues, amongst other things, because once again, there's somebody out there that's wired to do it. In fact, I'll tell you what I've seen with some of my clients, and we just about it and we have fun. There are some jobs that people are on that their colleagues are doing much better than them, and they're wondering why. I'm working very hard. Maybe I'm even working harder in my mind than my colleague, but my colleague is coming out better than me. They're getting promoted. Your colleague might be more wired to that thing than you. So you have to discover what it is about that job that maybe you can use your talents more intentionally towards, or do you need another type of a job? Now, if you need to change jobs, it's also, this is all adult life. We're all on a journey. If you discover that you spend most of your day doing things that drain you, you need to have a plan. If you need to transition out of your current job, make a plan. Give yourself a 3-month plan, a 6-month plan, a year plan. But you have to determine on your own what it is about your wiring that, will come out best on a job. And once again, remember that there's no 100% perfect. I love my current job, love my 9 to 5. I don't love everything about it. And me and my colleagues, we talk about these things all the time. Like, it's not even a joke, There are certain things about my job that I really am just like, oh, I have to do that, and I can't outsource it to anybody. I have to do it. But that's not the majority of my job. That's maybe 20% of my job. The 80 or 70% I love to do and comes naturally to me. So I can manage that 20-30% that I don't love.
Thank you so much. Let's cross over to the side where Well, on the surface, you like your job, you have been doing it for a while, and you get to do what you enjoy. But at some point, you just feel there is more, which is where we started. There is more. You're earning the money, you like the people around you, you like the location, the vacation, everything that comes with it. But you just start to feel there is more. And we have the name, we call it midlife crisis, even though I'm not quite sure how people came up with that because you don't know the lifespan of a person.
Exactly.
So, how does a person cross over from talent, strength, skills, knowledge to purpose and the fulfillment it brings?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think sometimes when we are already in a zone that we love and we feel like there's more than likely there's more talent inside of you that you have not unleashed. There's other talents that maybe have been inside of you and are kind of lying dormant and they're screaming to come out. I think that we have to see life as, first of all, a journey, obviously, but also as something that we were brought into to contribute to the world. When your talents are inside of you and they're dormant and you're not contributing, it sometimes makes the heart sick, right? Because you feel like there's more to me. In fact, so many people come to me and they say to me, I feel like there's so much more to me than what I'm currently expressing. And it's also because many of us have been conditioned to think that, oh, your life should just be your 9 to 5, your family, and maybe that's it. There's actually different aspects of our lives. And sometimes that hunger is because you are not expressing yourself in the fullness of who you have been created to be, right? I don't think there's anybody that was created to do just one thing. Really, let's be honest, And so sometimes that discovery is beyond the one thing. You might have found the one thing that you love, but there's so much more. And when it's stuck inside of you, you just feel like, oh, I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's something. And so that's why you have to buy the book, and get on the journey of discovery so that you can figure out. Because the book has a lot of questions. I mean, yeah. I really took time to think about, at the end of each chapter, the questions that would help you really get deep into yourself. And this is it's a very self-reflective, very deeply self-awareness kind of, an assignment where you ask yourself these questions. And those questions actually help you towards identifying all of your different parts.
Yeah. And, the explanation you gave right now refers me to one of the quotes you use in the book that stuck with me. I think it was from C. Jung or something. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And that is where a lot of people are, because we just take everything that, in quote, life throws our way and we don't know how to steer the boat. When in actual fact, we should take hold of the reins and steer the place it should go. So yeah,
absolutely,
that is a very valid one.
Yeah.
Now bringing down to the woman, what are some of those things that you have seen? I believe you're a coach.
Yes.
What are some of those things that you have seen in women that you feel these things are counterproductive? I'll give you one. I think women, the way they are wired to give their all.
No, they. You're not part of us again. You have left us. Oluwaseun, have you left us? Are we not together? She said they.
Oh, I did not see that coming.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I tried.
You're very correct. Okay, we are wired to give our all. Do you think that could if you're not aware of that, self-aware, do you think it could be a counterproductive talent? Because I see it as a talent.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Just ask those that have suffered burnouts and those that maybe have even ended up, in the hospital, or those, that have to go to therapy because they are burnt out. Absolutely. I think women naturally, we're very wired to give a lot, and it's a beautiful thing. It's how we've been wired, but I think that we have to manage it. I think that with all things, we really have to learn self-management. In fact, my 8-year-old daughter and I have been talking about self-management because she's emotional, and sometimes her emotions make her act a certain way, and I have to tell her, I'm like, it's not a bad thing to be emotional or to cry or to get upset, but you have to learn how to manage it. And we've been talking about it like she's more than 8. But I realized that there are many things about us women that, because they come innately to us and because they are good things, we overdo it. So my, to your original question is, women, we can't be all things to all people. There's seasons of our lives and we have to embrace each season and manage it accordingly. There are many people, whether I coach, mentor, talk to friends. As you can tell, I'm an extrovert. I love people. one thing I have been very intentional about telling, especially with women that are younger than I am, is please embrace every season of your life. There's a season of your life where, for instance, if you're pregnant with a baby, a physical baby, you cannot do certain things. You just can't. It's not because you're not a power woman in your mind or you are strong. It's because physically you can't. When you have a newborn, there are certain things that you cannot do, because your newborn is literally stuck to you. Even if you want to, you can't, it's like a limb, an additional limb, and so embrace the season of motherhood, embrace the season of building your career, embrace the season of being single, embrace the season of being a student, embrace all those seasons, because all those seasons come with amazing blessings. But if you keep looking onto other seasons and thinking, oh my gosh, how I wish, then you don't even embrace the season that you're currently in. And don't forget that really, in the length of life, I mean, you are probably going to experience several seasons, and you don't want to be in one season regretting, that my season where I was a bit more idle. I wish I had enjoyed it more because now I'm so busy and I'm in over my head. Or, that season when I was single, I wish I had stopped desiring everything that wasn't single, because now that I'm in those things, I'm like, wow, that was actually a nice season, So I think for women, it's really about embracing our seasons. There are many people that we all admire. Don't look at people that you admire and just want to be them now, because there's also a whole thing with younger people where there's this whole instant thing, and I am in between generations, so I understand, because I'm sure in between generations, sure. And so I understand the instant, because I was also born in a time where at some point things were instant, but there are some things that you cannot instant it. Oluwaseun, you cannot instant a baby.
No, 9 months,
whether you carry it yourself or not, that time has to be complete. Even if the baby comes early, the baby will have to stay in an incubator. There's a period of time that things need to grow. So you cannot instant life. So for me, that's a major thing. And also just women, we can't be all things to all people. I'm a big advocate of looking around you and seeing what other people are talented at, celebrating it, calling out, telling it, wow, you're really good at this, and also just leveraging your community. So there's things that I'm naturally good at that people call me to do, and there's things that I'm not naturally good at that I call people to do, right? And so I think it's about you understanding that you cannot be all things. This whole notion of superwoman is not possible. Forget it. Superwoman, she's suffering somewhere, and we don't want to be that. So let us realize that we cannot be all things to all people. We have to enjoy the seasons of our life. Let's leverage the talents of others around us, and let us be our best. Yeah.
You touched on that raw nerve, which is superwoman, and the other one, which I hate to hear, is self-made.
Forget it. They even get me started. They even get me started on that. I posted about that on Instagram the other day. I think it's such a selfish, really. See, even if you are self-made in your mind, did somebody not give birth to you? No, let's even start from the very beginning. A very good place to start, according to Sound of Music. Remember that song?
No.
Let's start from the very beginning. A very good place to start. Exactly. Yeah. You were born by a woman and a man came together. So even if you think you are self-made, really, you made yourself happy. Okay, good luck. Self-made does not exist, please. Let's just erase it. It's so annoying.
Oh, wow. Take this as your liberation. This is that freedom you have been waiting for. Take it. Right now, we need to take a breather. And when we come back, we'll wrap this up. You're listening to Soul Sisters right here on Smooth 98.1.
Oh, God. I'm loving this Soul Sisters.
Unfortunately, we have just about 5 more minutes.
We have to wrap up.
Yeah.
I love this song.
98.1.
To run a business, you need a plan. To woo someone, you need a plan. To indulge in whatever you enjoy, you need a plan, especially on YouTube.
You sure need a plan, like the Airtel Super Binge plan. Simply dial *141*514# now to enjoy 2 GB of data and 1 hour worth of free YouTube data every day for just 500 naira.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thanks for calling Bastion
Since
HMO.
I signed up with Bastion HMO, I don't worry about hospital bills. I get access to top quality healthcare and still save enough for other things. They even help me book my doctor's appointments. Bastion HMO also gives me access to over 1,700
PTA. Okay.
With the freedom to switch whenever. I feel so in control of my
Not
finances
everybody.
Bastion, or visit www.bastionhmo.com.
But it's just so funny sometimes. You're like, we all have very different schedules and lives and seasons,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Wake up
Yeah,
Saturday
and I think it's
morning.
one of the things that
Smell the
you talked
coffee.
about in
Wake
talent,
up
where
to
you're
breakfast in bed.
almost comparing your talent with somebody
Everything you
else's,
need
and you
on
said something
one
about 1 in
menu.
33 million.
Information,
That was mind
entertainment, and
blowing,
everything
really,
else in
and it just makes
between.
you understand your uniqueness.
Indulge
Absolutely.
yourself and
Because we all have
go
it.
on the perfect
Yeah.
binge with me, Oluwaseun, on Breakfast in
I
Bed
like your
every
voice. So
Saturday
nice.
morning from 7 o'clock. Now, your breakfast is set.
Well, we are not serving breakfast right now. We are talking soul sisters. Serving you something that is like a soul food, actually, because it goes straight into your mind. And remember, what is in your mind is what you are. And what you feed yourself with is beyond your diet, your physical diet. It also entails what you take into your ears, what you take into your eyes. So, yes, we are serving you something that is more than breakfast. But you can catch me every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. on Breakfast in Bed. That said, we are in the final minute of Soul Sisters for today. My chest. I know good things should not come to an end.
Yes, but they must.
They must. Right. Oh, okay. If you have any question or anything to say, if you have been listening, we have just about 3 minutes to get in your thoughts. So quickly, as fast as you can text as a WhatsApp message 0809 444 0981. Again, 0809 444 0981, or you can quickly call 01448 9981. You would have to do that at the speed of light. 01448 9981. I can only take one call and one message, and if it comes before that, well, good luck to you. Now, quickly as we wrap up, as you were giving the last explanation before we took that break, there is something I would like you to do, which is to, if possible, speak to the soul of the younger generation, because I keep saying there seems to be that gap, that I don't know if I should call it value gap or generational gap, and it's why we have that increased not gender war, generational war to an extent, where it looks like the Gen Z are not understood by maybe the millennials or the baby boomers, because it looks like, no, you don't get me how I am. So if there's anything I'd like you to do now, is just to talk from your experiences gathered to the younger generation, the one who feels like she's not doing enough, or she's doing a lot and she's not getting anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good one. I would say to young people who feel like they're not getting anything, or I'm just, I feel like I'm doing a lot, or I'm not doing enough. To those that feel like they're doing a lot and they're not getting anything, I just want you to know that you're actually getting something. It's just that you might not see the fruits of what you're getting today. Remember, we spoke earlier about patience. I think patience is really it's so important in life. And it doesn't come naturally to everyone.
I was just about to say,
some
how
of
do
us
you
are
learn
naturally
it?
impatient. Yeah, I think you have to just keep telling yourself that you have to be patient. I mean, you cannot learn it other than just telling yourself you have to be patient, and forcing yourself to learn patience and understanding that nothing good happens overnight too. Does it? Oluwaseun, let's be honest, but let's not digress. And I'll tell you why. So I remember when I was working my very, very first job straight out of university. First of all, I was very excited because, hey, now I'm getting paid. I'm a big girl. I'm an adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, after the excitement died down, I realized, this job, I couldn't articulate it at the time, but now in retrospect, it's that a lot of the parts of that job drained me because of my wiring, my personality, my talent, all of that. Till date, there are things I learned on that job that was not my favorite job that I can't pay for them. You are always learning. So even if you are in a season that's annoying you versus a season that you love versus working a job that you hate versus one that you love, you are always learning something. And sometimes you don't see the fruits of it until later. There are things about that first job that when they come to me now, or when I'm doing them now, because I learned them on the job, I'm like, can you just imagine? Even though that wasn't your favorite job, you learned something. So I just want to say to you that you are always learning, and you have to be intentional. I think the second thing for me, major, which I wish that I did when I was young, I was just being more intentional about my life. Like, who owns your life besides God? You there's no boss, no parent, no husband, wife, no mentor. Nobody owns your life like you. And so you have to understand that you must really be intentional about how you manage yourself and how you manage your life. There's a lot of outsourcing, even indirectly, even amongst Gen Zs who appear to be more, what's what I'm looking for? Gen Zs are definitely a lot more independent. they have a lot more power because of technology. You know,
Yeah.
they were born in an age where it's a season thing. You know, they were born in a time where there was a lot of independence. Technology has given them a lot of value. But even then, I still see a lot of outsourcing where people are not owning their life. So I just want to say to you, don't think that you're not learning anything. You are, even when you don't like your job. Take feedback. Gen Z, Gen Z, take feedback. Take feedback. Feedback is very important in life. Feedback even helps you discover your talents. I tell you, because sometimes when you keep getting the same feedback about something, it lets you know what you are good at or not good at. If it's positive feedback, oh wow, okay, maybe I'm naturally good at this thing. If it's negative feedback, you might need to, behave better, fix some things about yourself. But depending on the kind of feedback that it is, it's also a pointer to your talent. So I would just say to you that just keep doing what you're doing. Listen to feedback, realize that you own your life, and also make sure that you also know that no matter what is happening, even when it sucks, you're actually learning something. Yeah. And life is a journey. The fruits will always come.
Thank you. Thank you so much, because I feel they need to listen to this. The part about patience and also feedback. They should understand, dear Gen Z, we love you. It's no one is
I
a
love
hater.
my Gen Zs. Those are my people.
Don't label
I love them.
those that give you feedback hater. It is just that
that thing really upsets me. See, if you don't get feedback, you will actually fail in life. Let me just put it that way. You will. Why do we label people that give us feedback haters? I don't understand. It's very offensive. It's not my glory. First of all, you don't even have to take the feedback. If the feedback is not correct, then ignore it now. Is it by force? You know what I mean? So what is that? You see, and it goes back to that self-made. It's the same spirit and the same mindset of self-made that doesn't want to take feedback. I don't understand. You think that you're perfect? Nobody is perfect. We are all a work in progress. Even 90-year-old people, some older people, but when they tell you, they're like, well, even me, I'm still a work in progress. As long as you are breathing air on this earth, you're a work in progress, right? So please, please, please learn to take feedback. It's going to be something that takes you to levels that your mind could not imagine. In fact, I know people who the feedback that they've gotten has led them into deeper success than they could ever imagine because they actually took on the feedback. You can't see yourself, so please take feedback. Gen Zs, we love you.
And that is the icing on the cake. Thank you so much. I could never pay for this time you have given us and
thank you.
the information and everything that you have given. Thank you. And now this is a part where you go and look for your own copy of Unleash Your Superpowers. It is beautiful. I'm looking at it right here. If you're on YouTube, you can see it right here. So go search for it on different sites where you can. I believe it's on Amazon, right?
Yes, it's available on Amazon worldwide. It's available on Roving Heights online, so you can order it and it can be shipped to you wherever in Nigeria you are. It's also available at Book Nook in Lucky One, and check it out. Google it.
Unleash Your Superpowers.
Unleash them.
It's not just a book; it's a manual and a guide. It's like your hand is being held all through the journey. So
Thank you.
And of course, you can check out my guest on Instagram at Foluso G.
There's no H in my name. FOLUSO G.
Yes, Foluso G. When I first saw it, I thought it meant Foluso OG.
I know, right?
So yes, you're looking for FOLUSOG. Yeah, I had to put that.
Thank you.
So yes, follow her, and of course the many insightful tips she shares and the contents, they are quite rich and inspirational and motivational. All right, that's all we can take on Soul Sisters. Next week will be another time, and yes, we'll have something really great for you as usual. My name is Oluwaseun, and my guest has been Foluso Gbadamosi. I am signing out. At 11:55, you'll listen to the news, and I will be back to play you more R&B soul songs on Strictly Soul. Well, it's about the woman, so all the songs will be about woman. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a woman.
Thank you so much. That was so energizing.
I'm glad.
All right, let me get someone to get
Music to my ears. Yes, as usual.
A story to tell.
When I was just 11 years old, I became a female advocate to make a difference in as many children's lives as I could.
Soul Sisters, a discourse on the woman on Smooth 98.1.
Just that door.